Hi guys, my name is Coach Alexander and welcome to M&D Made Simple, where you find tutorials, lessons in relation to monitoring and evaluation. If you're here for the very first time, please do not hesitate to subscribe to this channel because on a regular basis, I post updates in relation to monitoring and evaluation. Now, I'm going to be talking about something very important, but before I do, I want to apologize to many of you out there. I am sure you've noticed that I've not been posting as frequently as I used to in the past, but it's only because I've been busy with a number of commitments. But moving forward, I'm hoping that that will be a thing of the past. I'm hoping I can post as regularly as possible and keep the fire burning. Now, if you have come to this video, you'll notice that the title of this video is How to Develop a M&D system. Okay, I'm using the whiteboard today because I find it a bit easier uh, to write than to develop slides, but I usually do slides. Okay, now, the thing is that every organization, okay, mark this, the points I'm putting down here is the key points that you need to understand. Every organization must have an M&D system. Okay, so now you may be asking yourself, how is this even possible? The issue is that many of the organizations that implement monitoring and evaluation, you agree with me, are the NGOs, the ones that are dealing with gender equality projects, agriculture projects, water and sanitation projects, and HIV/AIDS. Those are usually the ones you hear talking about a lot about M&D systems. But I'm here to tell you today that that is not how it should be. Every organization must have an M&D system in place. And why is this important? The reason is that everybody, every organization, every institution, even a human being wants to continuously improve. I think let me try to change some of the colors so that. So, point one is that every organization must have an M&D system. Then, point two is the reason why every organization must have an M&D system is because we all desire to continuously improve. So this is a reality which even comes down to us as human beings. Remember, the sky is the limit. We want to do more. We want to perfect our skills. We want to perfect our work. We want to perfect even the incomes we make. We want to keep going higher. But the only way you're going to do this is by having what is known as an M&D system. Okay, now this may sound a bit confusing, but let me explain. It all begins with what is known as the M&D cycle. So I'll try to change colors so that at least you find this a bit more interesting. And by the way, for those of you who've not yet registered for the 4-week training, it's not too late. You just have 24 hours to go. So please, I sent an email to those who came to the list. Please register for the training. You still have a bit more time. So now this is the issue. You see, the cycle is the M&D cycle has three phases. The first phase is the planning. Okay, that's the first phase, the planning. Then after the planning, you have the monitoring. Okay, then after the monitoring, you have the evaluation. So the way it is, guys, is that the cycle has three stages: the first stage, the second stage, and the third stage. So now, I don't want you to think of a project. I want you to think about your own personal lives. I want you to think about your own personal businesses. I want you to think about even the organizations you work for. So at personal life level, like if you ask me, Coach Alexander, what were your plans? What are your plans for the year? What are the plans for your plans for the next 5 years? I'll tell you my plans that I want to make. Maybe I want to build a mansion. Maybe that's my plan. So those plans are what are known as targets. Okay. I hope you are seeing this, guys. I know it's a bit too small, but I hope you are seeing this. So what those plans are called targets. So your targets are what define you. Your targets are what tell you where you want to go. You want to build a mansion. You want to buy a car. You want to get married. If it's at organization level, you want to make an income of $1 million. Okay. There are companies that make that kind of income. Now, the targets is one thing, but achieving it is another. So, in order for you to gauge whether you've achieved your target or not, you need to do what is known as monitoring. So, monitoring is the tracking. Okay, let me just expand this. I just want you to see what I'm saying here. So, I'll put it in a box. So, this is what is called the tracking. So, every day you're going to be checking, am I closing in on my target or not? But at the end of let's say you say to yourself that you want to build a house in 2 years, and then at the end of the 2 years, you sit down and establish whether you achieved your target. So that process of sitting down and establishing whether you achieved your target is the evaluation. Now, the thing is that you cannot assess yourself. Okay, I'm trying to just give you a picture of a simplified version of what we are going to discuss. Okay, because I haven't really zeroed in on the M&D system yet, but I want just to set the pace, so that you actually understand what we're going to discuss. So the evaluation is the at the end of the 2 years, you sit down, you find out that you ask yourself whether you've achieved your target or not. Now, the issue is that you can't assess yourself. The reason being is that you'll be biased. So you need somebody else to tell you where you went wrong. So you ask somebody, let's say you have this person, we'll call him, okay, this is me. Maybe this is me. Uh, I'll put some hair there and maybe some glasses. Yeah, so that is me. I'm smiling. Then I go and look for an independent person. He's probably holding a briefcase with shoes. So I look for this independent person and I ask him, look, Mr. Independent, can you come and assess me and tell me honestly, did I achieve my target? If not, why didn't I achieve it? So this independent person is what is known as the consultant. Okay? So the consultant is going to now, you're going to pay him money to assess you. Sorry, I'm not good with art, but you bear with me. I'm just trying to send a message out. So I'll be changing a few colors here and there. So he's going to assess the project. He's going to assess to check whether indeed so you you did indeed so whether I achieved, and he's going to honestly tell me. Okay, that's the thing, because when you have an independent person, that person is going to be honest and assess you based on what he or she has seen. So based on what he's seen at evaluation, he will tell me that, okay, look, Coach Alexander, that you did not achieve your target. So I'll have another section here called findings. So he'll say, Coach Alexander, you did not achieve your target. Number one, the reason you did not achieve your target is because you did not put enough funds to the project. Okay, you delayed in funding the project. Secondly, you did not have skilled workers, lack of skilled workers to build the mansion. Thirdly, he might say that also you lack commitment. By the way, guys, in the description is a link to a new book we recently launched. It's a guide on how to monitor and evaluate a project. Please visit the link. It's a very affordable book. So please support us as we try to send the message out on M&D. Okay, so back to the presentation. So the consultant tells me these findings. I hope you're following me because I keep changing on one side to the other. So the findings are here. He tells me that I delayed in funding the project. I I lacked skilled workers to build the mansion, and I also personally lacked commitment. So now, if I'm somebody who is fair to myself, I'm going to look at these findings and I'm going to improve. So, meaning that when I get these findings, after this evaluation is done, I'm going to use these findings in my next planning. So, meaning that in my next planning, I'm going to tackle these weaknesses which the consultant told me. So, for example, the first one he said delayed funding in the project. I'm going to make sure I'll make sure that I improve on that. Skilled workers, I'll make sure I get skilled workers for the project. Lack of commitment, I'll make sure I'll be more committed. So that is where the continuous improvement takes place, dear friends. I hope you're getting this loud and clear. The continuous improvement takes place when somebody tells you where you've gone wrong, and then you work on those weaknesses and improve. So that is what the M&D system is about. It's about continuous improvement. And that's why I say every organization needs an M&D system. Every organization, it doesn't limit itself just to a NGO or a project, even these businesses. Okay, so now let's get to the next part. How do you develop this M&D system? So, how do you develop an M&D system? How do you develop it? Before I go even to how you develop it, I want to give you a working definition of what an M&D system is. An M&D system is a mechanism that promotes. I'm giving you a very simple definition, but I'm sure if you go to Chat GPT, that AI system is going to give you another definition. But I'm giving you a basic one so that it sinks into you. So an M&D system is a mechanism for continuous improvement and learning. That is what an M&D system is. Never mind what, the other thing I need to tell you is that there's too much information on the internet concerning what monitoring and evaluation is. But me, who has been doing this for a long time, I can guarantee you that what I've told you right now is the correct definition. The M&D system is a mechanism for continuous improvement and learning. So now, the system is developed by you and stakeholders, okay? So the system is developed by, okay, I can say by yourself. I want to personalize this, by yourself, working with stakeholders. So the system is developed by yourself working with stakeholders. What do I mean here? You are the person who facilitates, but getting input from different individuals, organizations that have a say in the way the system will work. Now, having said this, let us now go, let us understand the components of an M&D system. So what are the components? So the M&D system The M&D system comprises of the following components. So if you're building a system in your organization, the first component you must think about is the M&D plan. So the M&D plan, remember that example I gave you of as an organization, you set goals. As an individual, you set goals. So the plan, the M&D plan documents all the targets you've set as an organization. So it sets all the targets. So that's component one, a crucial component, because you want to know what is it you plan to achieve. Another issue in the planning is the resource component. How much financial resource will be devoted to this system? How much time? Who will be responsible for what? It's in the plan. Then another part of the plan is the policy. So the policy, let me write that properly. Sorry, guys. So the policy gives you the rules, the do's and don'ts when it comes to carrying out monitoring and evaluation. Because you know what would happen if you don't have a policy? It means that people will be doing their own thing whenever they feel like, wherever they feel like, and they won't be brought under question. So the policy is supposed to explain what the do's and don'ts are. So take, for example, if you're going to do a monitoring visit, maybe let me not go that direction. Let me give another one. If you hire a consultant to do an evaluation, what should be his minimum level of experience? That's a policy statement. So the policy statement will say that any consultant who comes to do an evaluation must have at least 10 years experience in the relevant field. Another thing the policy statement may say is that when it comes to implementation of M&D activities, 10% of the budget, the overall budget, must be devoted to M&D activities. That's a policy statement. So when you have those provisions, it becomes easy to do your work without having to argue with anybody why a certain thing is being done a certain way. Because the key is to focus on achieving our goals. And the policy is the law that tells us what we should do, when we should do it, how we should do it. Tells us that. Then another part is the guidelines. Now you might be asking yourself, these guidelines and the policy, what's the difference? So the policy is the law, but the guidelines is the how. How is it done? So take, for example, you're going to do an evaluation. Okay, let's say you want to do an evaluation as an organization. So the guidelines will tell you how is it supposed to be done? What are the steps? In short, in the guidelines, you simply put step by step procedures. I hope you're not dozing. If you are, you can pause the video, make a cup of coffee. I don't, I am aiming to post as regularly as possible, but I might find myself taking a bit of a break. But please uh, watch this video from start to finish. And if you haven't done so, subscribe. So the guidelines, it's the step-by-step approach. The plan are the targets, the policy are the laws, okay? What are the laws? Now, there's another aspect to this, which constitutes the M&D system, and that is the data management system. The interesting thing about M&D, guys, is that it is really about playing with data. Most of the time, we are just dealing with data, and it can get tedious, but that is what we do most of the time. I can even think 80% of the time, we are just dealing with data. So the data management system is the one that deals with data collection, data analysis, and reporting. Now, this is why I also say this, that you see the M&D system is everywhere. Think about it, guys. The M&D system is everywhere. It's even in universities, it's in colleges, it's in hospitals, it's everywhere. Because everywhere you go, there's a data management system in place. Everywhere you go. This is why a lot of organizations today, they are moving away from, because previously you would have the data management system would come in two forms. So you have the paper-based, you'd have the paper-based, and then you have the digital. So the data management system in the start, in the beginning, it was all paper-based. You'd have questionnaires, people collect the data, they enter it in the computer, analyze it, generate a report. It was mainly paper-based, but today it's becoming more and more digital. And that is why there's this confusion sometimes. People will say, just because you have a web-based system, people will say, okay, that's an M&D system. But really, it's not complete. You see, when you have an M&D system, the data management system is just a component. I would say that if you are a budget holder, I would really encourage you to go the digital way because it promotes efficiency. You know, the paper-based modes, we used to use it a lot, but remember what it used to bring, the headaches it would bring to us. First of all, issues to do with data quality, late reporting, errors, things like that. But with the digital, you are less prone to errors, and then everyone is happy. The last component, but not the least, is the organogram. So, guys, here I'm telling you the truth. From my experience, this is what constitutes an M&D system. So, the organogram is basically the staff structure. Now, I'll give you an experience that I noticed most of the time. In the past, a lot of institutions would complain that they just don't have money to finance the M&D component of a project. So what would they do? If there's an accountant working in the institution, if there's a project officer working there, if there's a field officer, even a director, they would all use them to fulfill one or two areas of the M&E, all in the name of minimizing cost. Now, the danger with that, I actually don't have much of a problem if you have project officers doing that. But the danger is if you have an accountant doing data collection, analysis, reporting, it might present a problem. Actually, it will, because the capacity to do M&E is not there. We must stop thinking that M&E is just anything that can be done anytime by anybody. It is actually a skill. It is a skill which needs to be learned. And by the way, I'm still running the coaching programs with colleagues. So if you have any interest, please write to me. I'll give you my personal email, but there are other colleagues I work with when we do this kind of coaching. So the issue is this: M&E is not a by the way thing. When it comes to people doing this activity, you must have the right staff component, the right staff composition. Okay, so now that I've mentioned the components of the M&D system, when you are developing the M&D system, you need to develop all these components. And I must mention that development, you can develop the guidelines. You can start by developing the guidelines. You can do the M&D plan as well, the policy as well. These are the easiest ones to do. But the one which becomes problematic is the data management system and the organogram. For obvious reasons, the organogram will depend on how much the organization is willing to commit in terms of funding. And then the data management system is dependent also on whether you want to go paper-based or digital. And if you go the digital route, you might need to engage an IT company, a consultant, who can come and set systems, computer systems, networks in your organization to facilitate this process. So, in a nutshell, guys, this is what I wanted to share with you. And in the coming weeks, I'm going to talk a lot about this, especially how we can make our M&D system digital. What I'm going to do, I'll do it systematically. I'm going to start with the paper-based component. I'll do things systematically. I'll start with the paper-based component, and then we'll go on how we can do this digitally. It will be done on a systematic basis. So if you have any questions, let me write my email here so that you don't forget. If you want coaching, please do not hesitate. So this is Coach Alexander 23 at yahoo.com. So you can get in touch with me anytime, anywhere, and we can discuss your coaching needs and any questions you may have. So until we meet again, I've been your host, Coach Alexander, and see you on the other side. Bye.